accumulating points for capturing pests. Overwhelmed with joy and disbelief, he scratched his head. The system recognizes my outstanding farming achievement. If I catch red locusts with an item, I can accumulate points? That's fantastic, given there are millions of locusts. Just in time, Seijun would help the tower by dealing with all of them using his newly planted green onions. All events seemed orchestrated for his benefit. Outside the tower, someone else was about to receive similar good news as Seijun. In the magnificent glass high-rise, a joyful laugh echoed. "Kim Dongshik, you truly are my student." Taejun, dressed comfortably in a tank top and shorts, lounging on the sofa in his freezing cold room, praised, "How did you manage to clear the 38th floor faster than I expected?" Seeing his master relaxing in the icy cold that required him to wear a thick parka, Dongshik humbly thanked his teacher. Taejun sat up and looked at him. "I heard that after leaving the tower, you came straight to find me?" Nodding confidently, "You sure are quick with information, master." Dongshik reached into his bag and unexpectedly pulled out a slightly strange-looking yellow-brown sweet potato for his teacher. Naturally, Taejun had no idea what it was but would soon find out. Behind Dongshik were several members of the Phoenix Guild, smiling. "Master, everyone is waiting for the legendary hunter's return. Let's go to the tower." A bright smile spread across Taejun's face. He had been waiting his whole life for the moment to return to the Black Tower. "Let's neutralize the fire curse within 5 hours." On the 67th floor, a massive invasion was taking place by a species that most monsters in the Black Tower feared deeply: red locusts. These creatures swarmed in large numbers, each one quite large, equipped with powerful legs and bloodthirsty mouths. Even though the front line of locusts was cut down by the lizardmen, the ones behind surged forward fearlessly. The lizardmen's swords were sharp, and their numbers were many, but they still had to mobilize all resources to fend off the attack. Each wave of red locusts felt like a dark, ominous wind. The ground on the 67th floor was littered with the dissected remains of red locusts and the marks of fierce battles, yet the lizard soldiers couldn't stop fighting for even a moment. Someone shouted in frustration, "They're too many! We must join forces! The teleport point is right behind us. If we can't stop this attack, we'll lose the 67th floor territory. Worse, if the red locusts reach the teleport point, they'll jump to the 68th floor and wreak havoc on the monsters there." As morale was dropping, a high-pitched voice rang out from above. "Everyone, fight them off together." The lizard tribe looked up and saw a giant fireball, created by magic, spinning rapidly with intense heat. A lone hamster with her staff suddenly appeared, stunning the lizard folk. Was it the mage Iona? Her eyes glowed with magical light as she lowered her hand, sending the fireball crashing into the swarm of locusts. With a loud explosion, their bodies burned to ash upon impact, and the ground beneath was torn up, leaving the 67th floor residents in awe. The red locusts were incinerated, leaving no remains to bury. However, despite Iona's powerful spell, she could only deal with a small portion of the swarm. The rest scattered temporarily to avoid the heat. This gave the lizard tribe a brief respite. Everyone, young and old, watched the Grand Mage's performance in amazement. Quickly opening a spatial bag, Iona tossed sharp green onions into the hands of the lizard tribe, commanding loudly, "I'll hold them off. Plant these at the farm's front." Though puzzled by the onions, the lizard people had no time to question as Iona floated above, urging 2 lizards carrying the onions. "Hurry up!" The rest, including warriors protecting civilians and non-combatants, were equally puzzled. Could these onions really kill that many locusts? 2 lizard warriors swiftly and accurately planted the onions about a meter apart. As they finished, the red locusts changed course and swarmed towards them, causing the warriors to flee in panic. "Get out of there! Without weapons, they'll bite you to death!" But the red locusts weren't targeting the warriors. They were aiming for the freshly planted onions. In no time, the locusts split into individuals, crashing into the sharp onions. The continuous sound of crunch crunch filled the air as hundreds of red locusts were cleanly sliced. Some were cut in half, others lost limbs, unable to stop before hitting the next onion and dying. Their black blood splattered everywhere, creating a grim scene. Watching a locust struggle towards him with severed legs, the lizard people realized these creatures were rushing to their deaths. Surprisingly, the next waves mindlessly followed suit, meeting the same fate. The blade green onions stood firm, cutting through many locusts, with their bodies piling up, almost covering the onion roots. No locust could get past the green onions to reach the lizard people, while another massive wave loomed behind. A warrior shouted to Iona, "What is that stuff?" This time, looking back at her lizard friends, the hamster mage smiled, no longer worried. Holding her staff, Iona explained, "It's a gift from the Great Black Dragon." The 67th floor's residents gathered, puzzled. The Black Dragon? This is his gift? No wonder they found it hard to believe. The Great Black Dragon was like a legend. Everyone knew of his existence, but no one knew what he looked like. From above, Iona cheered, "Oh, great mages and warriors, there's no need to fear these vile invaders anymore. Use the green onion blades to attack the red locusts and drive them out of here." Guided by Iona, the fighting spirit of the residents soared, all for the benefit of the tower. They shouted in unison with Iona, as all the mages provided magical support, and the soldiers below, wielding various swords, staffs, and weapons, rushed to eliminate the remnants of the red locusts. Determination shone in everyone's eyes, all for the Great Black Dragon. While the 67th floor was in the midst of a fierce battle, under the clear, blue sky of the 99th floor, it was still a peaceful day. The cornfields had bloomed, signaling the honeybees were about to produce delicious cornflower honey. Seijin looked up at the notifications popping up one after another. Nothing new, but plenty of them. They reported that his crops had been damaged by pests and that he had accumulated experience points. He breathed a sigh of relief seeing the new crops stable, especially the new variety, blade green onions, which seemed to have no issues transitioning into a full harvest. He glanced at the small bear flexing its muscles, staring intently at the blade onion in its hands. He wondered if Kwang was all right. Kwang, with its chubby arms, hugged the blade onion carefully, avoiding its sharp edges while concentrating hard to split it in two. The little bear's small mouth was tightly pursed, and its brows furrowed in deep focus. After a while, a ripping sound was heard. Kwang beamed as it looked at the perfectly split blade onion, evenly divided without any fraying. It was an impressive feat for the first try. As Seijin stepped out, Kwang immediately held up one half of the onion in its left hand, proudly announcing, "I split the green onion blade in half." Seijin nodded, praising, "Good job." Truly impressed, he looked at Kwang affectionately, explaining that because the blade onion was so tough, he had been thinking about how to divide them for planting. Luckily, they had the very strong Kwang. The little bear, smiling brightly, had another onion ready to be split. "I'm really strong, Dad. I can split the onions in one go." Kwang loved being praised by Seijin, loved being helpful like the others on the farm, and especially loved the full jar of honey it got as a reward for its hard work. Patting the little bear's short red fur, Seijin thought back to a few days ago when he had traded blade onions with Iona to help strengthen the defense against the red locusts. Why trade and not give them away? Well, when Seijun had stood before the monsters, he had suggested that the mage take the blade onions, saying the tower would be in great danger without them. He laid out all the harvested onions neatly before Iona, who nodded gratefully and respectfully. "I am very grateful for the Great Black Dragon's favor, but if we do this, there could be an issue of resource misuse in the tower." As expected of the Great Mage, Iona proposed a different way to avoid this, suggesting using transaction contracts for payment. Even Theo, the Great Black Dragon's subordinate, thought it was a useful idea. Naturally, as the commerce cat, he exclaimed that it was a great method. "Sure," Seijun agreed, saying that if both sides consented, he had no reason to refuse. Iona added that even if they built a defensive force at the teleport point, the number of red locusts wouldn't increase. If it decreased, she would personally lead a sweep of the red locusts with other mages. Hence, it would be hard for her to return to the 99th floor, and she would request the Merchant Guild's commission in Theo's name. While discussing official matters, Seijin suddenly heard a loud crunching sound nearby. Having heard it for a while but focusing on Iona's words, he now turned to look. He saw the adorable Kwang holding an onion in one hand and a locust, still bearing bite marks, in the other. The sight of its puffed-up cheeks made Seijin panic, shouting, "Oh no, Kwang, you can't eat that!" By the time Seijin noticed, Kwang had already eaten half the locust. Seijin rushed over, pried the bear's mouth open, searching for any remaining pieces. "Did you eat it all?" he asked, but Kwang, unfazed, mumbled, "What happened?" Trying to find an explanation, Seijin was interrupted by Elka, who softly asked, "May I eat red locusts?" Seijin quickly put the bear down, looking at the silver wolf chief in surprise, almost forgetting they were black tower monsters. It turned out that red locusts were a very nutritious delicacy for other monsters. I didn't see the farm rabbits eat, so I wondered if they could eat shrimp, octopus, and fish, and maybe even locusts. After finishing their meal, Elka looked at the pile of green onions Seijin had taken out and offered, "Let me take these sword blade green onions to the 67th floor for you, Seijin?" He nodded in agreement. "Thanks a lot." Kwang stood at the farmer's feet, looking just like his father. Like son. After packing the sword blade green onions into Elka's backpack, the father and son waved goodbye to the chief and left. "Be careful while transporting the sword onions." He nodded respectfully. "I will, sir." A while after the lizard warriors fought the red locusts on the 67th floor, they began cleaning up the battlefield by using the dead red locusts as food. They immediately replenished their protein by munching on them fresh, and whoever was full would stuff the locusts into sacks for later processing. However, there were so many red locusts that even with all the consumption, there were still heaps left over. There were so many that they couldn't fit into the sacks and had to be piled up into mounds as tall as a 2-story building, wondering how to handle it all. It wasn't easy. After dealing with the temporary attack, many red locusts were still alive. If they left the dead ones there, the living red locusts would eat them and double their numbers. So the Silver Wolf tribe helped deal with the dead red locusts using the sword blade green onions. They decided to move the dead red locusts to the 99th floor for storage, filling large wooden carts to the brim. If they could bring more than a certain amount, they could increase their sales revenue. They planned to use that money to rebuild the 85th floor, which was damaged by the drought. This made Seijin very excited. While harvesting cherry tomatoes, he thought, of course, the Silver Wolf tribe would also take a commission from the entire operation. Besides the sword blade green onions, there was another way to earn profits, so revenue was going to increase quite a bit. Did anyone notice the 2 chubby arms waving a fan made of leaves? That was Theo, the cat, being scolded by the farmer. "Hey, salesperson Theo, can't you fan properly? There's no wind today." The cat, asked so suddenly, drooped its ears pitifully. "My arms are too tired. Meow. Can't I stop being the fan cat now?" The farmer, hands on his hips, scolded lightly. "You haven't even fanned for 5 minutes. Because you took the sun's sweet potatoes, I have nothing to sell, don't you know? You should feel guilty because I had to separate them and replant from new sweet potato seeds. I almost forgot about that harvest." With each word, the cat's ears drooped lower. Knowing the boss wasn't wrong, Theo meowed apologetically. "I won't make a mistake again." Suddenly it smiled and told Seijin, even though it made a mistake, it was lucky to sell the sweet potatoes to Eastern merchants. Nya. The Eastern people were good merchants who knew how to keep secrets. Proudly, Theo tucked the leaf fan under its arm while lightly thumping its chest. Their eyes showed that they desperately needed sun sweet potatoes. And with this, we could increase our credibility with the Eastern merchants. So I will definitely do my best. Making such a righteous declaration after making a mistake? Seijin frowned at it. 30 more minutes of fanning as punishment. "Oh no, Naya, how can I do that?" The cat, seeing the farmer didn't appreciate its words and even increased the punishment, cried in grievance, fanning furiously while pleading, "I'm fanning so hard, look at me, Nya." The farmer, acting like a boss, rubbed his shoulder, complaining, "Oh my, why are my shoulders so sore?" Hearing the chance to stop fanning, the cat threw away the leaf fan, eagerly jumping over. "Meow, oh, let me massage your shoulders." Seijin pretended to doubt it, but turned around for Theo to press its front paws on his shoulders. It kept reminding him not to worry, not to get sick, meow meow. Suddenly, he found it hilariously funny, but tried to hide his smile. Should he tease it a bit more? Just then, the notification board popped up repeatedly. "You have accumulated 1 experience point." But he hadn't done anything but tease the cat? Seijin suddenly remembered it might be due to the ongoing locust attack somewhere, and the sword blade green onions killing them would bring him experience points. Suddenly, another notification appeared. "Congratulations, you have leveled up. Requirement, harvest 1,000 items, level 21 reward, 50 tower coins." Seijin shouted with joy, causing the cat to fall backward. "Amazing, I've reached level 20. From accumulated experience points from farming to dealing with pest insects, his leveling speed had increased dramatically. Clenching his fist with determination, Now he had to complete the quest requirement right away. If he leveled up and gained experience points, surely his magic power would also increase. Excited, he suddenly heard the cat scream in his ear with frustration. Now it was Theo's turn to put his hands on his hips and scold the farmer for standing up suddenly without warning. "What are you doing? I was massaging you. Sit back down," he stammered. I know, but Theo wasn't letting it go. It jumped up, kneading Seijin's face, making him immediately reach up to pull it off. "Your face has problems, Seijin. I should massage it too." Unable to stop the chubby paws from rubbing his cheeks, he squinted, muttering, "Why do I suddenly feel so unhappy?" Meanwhile, several dozen kilometers away, in the midst of rugged mountains and forests, there was no sound of birds singing. In a patch of forest, a tree monster was trembling on the ground. It looked extremely weak, its red pupils staring aimlessly, and the cracked ground suggested it had been slammed down with great force. Suddenly, with a loud thud, a red foot stomped on the trembling tree monster, killing it instantly. No more trembling. Its massive legs split apart the tree monster's torso, while its arms tore off two other pieces from the monster's body. Mother Bear's eyes glared angrily at the remains under her feet, even though she had finished dealing with it. She growled a few times, crushing the remnants in her hands, wondering why these tree monsters from the west were suddenly invading her territory. She decided she needed to increase patrols. Looking up at the sun, now high in the clear blue sky, she mumbled, "It's already time to head back." Not finished with the task, she couldn't leave the remains here, so she grabbed the largest part of the tree monster, dragging it across the ground as she pushed through the dense trees to head out. "Time to go back to my little one. What should we do tonight? Kwang needs to eat well. I bet Seijin is still feeding him delicious food regularly, right? That way, Mama Bear can have the energy to protect the territory."
Phew, someone was breathing heavily, echoing loudly. Even knowing that in the Black Tower there's always sunlight, no matter day or night, but how hot does it have to be for you to stick out your tongue and pant like a dog? It's all because of this. On the plate of green onions, only a few pieces of that signature red sauce were left. Guess what dish it was? After finishing such a large plate, the black dragon Aileen turned to grab a glass of tomato juice, gulping it down until it was all gone. Only tomato juice could extinguish her tongue that was burning fiercely. Aileen, holding the glass in one hand, wiped her mouth with the other, feeling refreshed as if she had just chugged a beer. Not juice. Woo! Eating spicy and sweet food sure makes all the stress go away, doesn't it? On the stone floor, near Aileen's feet, were 5 empty green onion plates, with only a few pieces of sauce left after being cleaned up. Normally, she would only eat one plate, but Seijin's spicy stir-fried squid was truly amazing. Enjoying that pleasure, Aileen blushingly commented that it's also because she's been feeling a bit unsettled lately and hasn't been eating properly. Today's meal tasted even better, and she ate more than usual. Each of Aileen's words was turned into a message by the system, letting the farmer know how happy the tower manager was feeling. Meanwhile, Seijin was wiping his sweat, shoveling with the rabbit family, and pushing the cart across the field to harvest, definitely not as leisurely as the dragon. Yet, he still chuckled, saying that he should be the one thanking her for enjoying her meal so much. Later, he would prepare sweet potatoes as a dessert for her. A smaller system panel popped up, notifying him continuously that his crops were being damaged by pests, and he had accumulated 1 experience point. Lately, these types of notifications had been popping up constantly, all with the same 2 messages because the blade green onion was dealing with the locusts. But them appearing suddenly, like that meant the red locusts were attacking again. Seijin wondered how many of them were left. Why haven't they been wiped out yet? To answer his question, Aileen opened the system to check the numbers immediately. First was the board showing the total number of red locusts exterminated on the 67th floor of the tower, 1,003,781, with 6,038,881,918 remaining. It also added that the number of red locusts had increased by 7 compared to an hour ago. The Black Dragon remained highly optimistic, informing Seijin that their forces had significantly reduced the number of red locusts. Hearing this, the farmer smiled gently, saying that was fortunate, right? Because leveling up clearly owed a lot to the red locusts. If only he could help out on the 67th floor. He stood next to a carrot bed ready for harvest, preparing to pull it out while chatting with Aileen. At this moment, the dragon's orb wasn't for watching a handsome farmer anymore. Aileen reached out her dark-colored finger, tapping her nail on the orb, making it light up like a bulb. A long panel popped out, showing the contribution levels in eradicating the red locusts on the 67th floor of the tower. Rank 1 Park Sejin, 303,113 locusts. Rank 2 was Iona, 123,812 locusts. And rank 3 was the Lizard Warrior with 11,929 locusts. The ones with lesser contributions didn't show up, as the gap between ranks 1 and 3 was already huge. Aileen smiled, something she hadn't done in a long time. Due to a lack of magic, she couldn't check the situation on the 67th floor through the crystal orb. But of course, she could still guess the current situation through the ranking board. So she told Sejin that the effectiveness of the green onion knife was unquestionable. Seeing the farmer's bewildered face, she giggled and encouraged him, saying she wasn't lying. Also, if the red locusts disappeared from the tower, she would give rewards based on the level of contribution, so he should keep trying. Looking at the new message board, Sejin was very surprised. There were rewards too? Was it a reward for exterminating the red locusts? Was it a request or a real reward? Of course, Aileen couldn't tell him that, with 6 billion red locusts still remaining. Glancing at the message board, saying that the tower manager couldn't disclose that information. What she could reveal was that the more the contribution, the bigger the reward. Sejin immediately turned back with a plump carrot ready for harvest. He grabbed it, preparing to pull it out, making the chubby rabbit drool just looking at it. Contribution level means having to put in more effort, right? He asked Aileen while using his strength to pull the plump, high-quality carrot out of the ground. As the soil fell away, the system displayed the information immediately. Agile carrot, when eaten, it would decompose 30 grams of body fat, increase agility by 0.5 for 10 minutes, and improve eyesight. Grown by Tower Farmer Park Sejin, shelf life 130 days, grade C. This wasn't the first time harvesting agile carrots, but Sejun was still very excited. The farmer handed a carrot to Chubby Rabbit, and with his other hand gave 2 more to the others. Here you go, it's grade C carrots. Now eat them slowly, okay? That way, your agility points will increase, and the work can be finished faster too. The kids cheered loudly. It wasn't every day Sejin gave them food right in the middle of the field, so they were very excited. Sejin also tasted the sweet flavor of the carrot, but hadn't eaten much when he saw Theo the cat rubbing its sleepy eyes, coming out to find him. Boss, I think I have to go down now, nya? Chewing a carrot, Sejin mumbled. Trader Theo, you're awake, going now? Letting the rabbit family transport the carrots to the storage area, he stood up and asked, Are you meeting Elka on the 88th floor? The cat nodded, confirming it. It also added, After delivering the silver wolves to the 67th floor, I plan to head down to the 38th floor while collecting red locust carcasses. Sejin let the cat go, but couldn't help his sarcastic nature. Crossing his arms and smirking, he teased, Be careful this time. No mistakes with the crops, right? Theo snapped awake. What kind of cat do you think I am? I only made one mistake. I won't make it twice. Meow. About to make another jab, they both heard the architecture rabbit calling, Mr. Sejin. The formal tone caught both of them off guard. Once it had their attention, it spread its arms wide, eyes sparkling, announcing, The house is finished. Looking at the architecture rabbit's face, it was clear it was proud, as if presenting its masterpiece, which must be quite impressive. Sejin, Theo, Kwang, and the rabbit family approached the sturdy house, marveling at it from the outside. It looked like an old-style Korean house, solidly built with bricks within a wooden frame. The thatched roof was meticulously designed to provide just the right amount of shade below. The small wooden door was crafted delicately, perfectly matching the house's style, making it hard to believe. Only those who were fans of the architecture rabbits knew they did everything from A to Z, and the level of craftsmanship was extraordinary compared to their appearance. Stepping inside revealed more surprises, such as the stone kitchen with 2 separate cooking holes, already equipped with deep-bottomed pots. Standing there cooking, Sejin wouldn't have to worry about food smells clinging to his hair because the architecture rabbits had thoughtfully included a ventilation hole. Not only Sejin, but also Theo and Kwang were astonished. One had never known what a house was, and the other had never seen such a big house. Wow, It's exactly as I requested. How did you guys manage this? Before the rabbits could answer, they were drawn by Queng's excited voice. Dad, the floor is so warm. To make sure, he lay spread eagle on the floor with the little ones following suit. Everyone was delighted, Theo rubbing back and forth, enjoying it, whining, "Why do I suddenly feel so tired, meow?" Sejin cheerfully explained, "This is called underfloor heating. When you're tired, just lie down and your body will warm up and you'll feel less tired." He sat up suddenly, surprised, and asked the two gray-furred rabbits waiting expectantly, "But did I explain the structure of the heating system to you guys?" The elder rabbit eagerly explained. The reason they knew without Sejin explaining was because among the merchants, there was a race that often lived in houses with a similar structure. They had been commissioned several times to build such houses, so it was easier to imagine. After checking inside, they stepped outside to a small area for chatting. Sejin put on his shoes and smiled, asking the little ones, "I guess there will be monsters using the heater and the pot in this tower, right?" Theo, drooling over the smoothed wooden posts, immediately started scratching them. No matter how good a trader Theo was, he was still just a cat. Kwang suddenly noticed a different section of the wall behind the cat, waving and loudly asking, "Dad, what's this?" It looked like two wooden shutters specifically made on the stone wall. Sejin had no idea what it was either. He hadn't told the architecture rabbits to add this while building the house. Curiosity piqued. Theo clung to the farmer's shoulder, cautiously approaching to open it. Turned out it was a sliding door, modern and luxurious, sliding smoothly. Sunlight poured in, revealing a small wood-paneled space, with green onions on the floor and the guilty face of the cart rabbit hugging the youngest of the three architecture rabbits. Its cheeks flushed from being caught red-handed. I couldn't believe that chubby rabbit had secretly wooed the gray rabbit. It took a few seconds to grasp the situation before it quickly shut the door. Embarrassed, "You guys should knock first." Honestly, who would know that door led to paradise? Sejin was the quickest to understand, rushing off like the wind with a panicked face, but managed to pull Theo clinging to his sleeve and cover Queng's eyes, dragging him away. The little bear, not understanding anything, innocently asked, Dad, why are you covering my eyes?" The whole group ran out to the yard in a panic. Though they hadn't gone far, Sejin was panting like he'd just finished a race. Two gray rabbits stood bewildered, as if it was their first time seeing their sibling alone with Cart Rabbit. Kwang looked at his father in confusion, while Theo's face showed pure boredom. What was the big deal? Why did they have to run away? After catching his breath, Sejin turned back to his beautiful house with a sense of grievance. "That's my house." The innocent red bear didn't understand the reason. Seeing Sejin on the verge of tears, it could only show concern. Is Dad feeling sad? Before Sejin could explain, a large figure loomed behind the green bushes. Mother Bear greeted Mr. Sejin, to which he replied in surprise. "Mother Bear, why are you so late today?" The little one jumped up as soon as it saw its mother, forgetting how sad its father had been earlier. Noticing the red bear's worried look, Sejin immediately asked, "You've been coming to check more often lately, haven't you?" Mother Bear, holding something in its paw, replied shortly, "Because things have been a bit chaotic around here, so I came to check more frequently." After saying that, it threw down the tree trunk it was holding. In Mother Bear's hands, it looked small, but when it hit the ground, it was extremely heavy. Just because Mother Bear's physique was larger than normal, the force of the impact made Sejin's group step back. Trying to hide his fear, Sejin said, Thank you." But he didn't know what it was or why Mother Bear thought he needed it. Hesitantly, he guessed, "Is this an old tree from long ago?" Theo interrupted, seeing that Mother Bear wouldn't stay long. It exclaimed excitedly, "Mother Bear, will you go back to the forest now? Please take me with you, meow!" Mother Bear agreed immediately, extending its large hand to invite Theo up. "All right, it'll make the journey less boring, won't it?" Theo sat on the food-powered palanquin, waving goodbye as the group waved back energetically. "Take care." This time, Theo would travel a bit before heading downstairs. Sometimes it would be a month before it returned. The group looked at the old log Mother Bear had left behind. Sejin had no idea what to do with this dry tree. Maybe use it for furniture? Seeing the wood, the architectural rabbit got excited. It ran over to the log, tapping on the trunk to check the quality. "It's solid, not decayed at all." It jumped onto the trunk, pulled out its axe, and excitedly declared, "First, I need to trim this tree." A skilled craftsman, as soon as it saw raw materials, it wanted to carve them into useful items. Seeing this, Sejun turned away, saying he'd arrange things around. Now only the bed was missing. Just a bit more wood, and it'd be done. The gray rabbit nodded firmly. This task was easy for it alone. Suddenly, a strange red light glowed in the tree hollow. Surprised, it cautiously approached. Before it could recognize what it was, branches sprang out, wrapping around the rabbit. Startled, it dropped the axe, soon finding itself tightly bound by the seemingly dry branches. The more it struggled, the tighter the branches squeezed, causing it to squeak in pain. Frighteningly, the log abruptly stood up. It balanced on its dry roots, 4 glowing red spots glaring menacingly at the impudent rabbit in its grasp. It turned out the corrupted ant was only pretending to be dead, furious now at the rabbit for attempting to chop it. As Sejun's group gaped in shock, the gray rabbit was hoisted by its neck, looking utterly helpless and pathetic. Never before had it faced such direct danger. Sejun quickly drew the knife from his waist, charging forward with a shout. Let him go. But he didn't know how to fight the corrupted ant. His face full of confusion, he saw Kwang darting forward. The little bear's face was full of courage. It leapt high, above the corrupted ant's head, roaring Kwang, then spread its claws wide. Decisively, Kwang slashed its right paw at the dry branch holding the gray rabbit. With a loud crack, the branch broke instantly. The rabbit was thrown aside, falling hard to the ground as the corrupted ant couldn't catch it in time. Although the front of the gray rabbit was a bit damaged, it managed to escape the control of the corrupted ant successfully. The branch holding the gray rabbit broke, but the corrupted ant didn't care about it anymore. It turned sharply towards its new enemy, the one with the red fur. 2 more branches sprouted and rushed to wrap around Kwang. As Kwang's size kept growing, the branches could only wrap around his arms or thighs. However, there were surprisingly many branches, often coming in pairs or 4s, and soon Kwang's movements were tightly restricted. Even his wrists were held, sealing the small bear's claws, making him look anxious. But this was nothing. Kwang grew even bigger than before, lunging forward to bite fiercely into the dry branch, attempting to strangle him. Usually only eating vegetables and drinking honey, who knew his teeth were so sharp and his face could be so fierce, he twisted violently, ripping the branch with his teeth. His right arm swung mightily, breaking free from the right side's control. Yet the number of branches seemed endless. Any that broke would immediately regrow. Kwang grew to his full size, angrily resisting the corrupted ant's grip. They glared at each other, roaring with fury. Clearly, this was a battle of 2 giants. Sejun hesitated, holding the knife, unsure how to help. He stared in confusion. What should he do? What could he do? At that moment, a message board popped up, startling Sejun, who called Aileen like someone calling for a lifeline. The tower manager asked why the corrupted ant was there, but Sejun had no idea. He hastily replied, I don't know. It just sprang up. How do I deal with it? The solution was in the magic book, but if Aileen hadn't read it, she wouldn't know either. The dragon girl hurriedly followed Sejun, frantically flipping through the book to find the solution. The pages rustled under her fingers more chaotically, but finally, the message board informed him that the manager said to just remove all the carnivorous fruits inside the tree. But Sejun didn't know what a carnivorous fruit was. He had no time to hesitate. Besides the increasing number of branches, the ones wrapping around Kwang were extending. Though both were of equal size, the bear wasn't as battle-hardened as his mother, only able to resist with muscle strength. Suddenly, his father's voice echoed in his ears. Kwang, shrink down. Not understanding why, but being an obedient child, Kwang immediately shrank within a blink of an eye as his father instructed. Indeed, the branches couldn't keep up with his transformation speed, and Kwang's sudden shrinkage startled the corrupted ant. As it tried to bind the bear again, Sejun had already rushed over at top speed. He no longer cared about his precious straw hat flying off, seizing the moment to thrust his knife into the dark spot in the tree hollow. A furious scream echoed, the red spots distorted. Sejun didn't know what he had stabbed, but saw some black liquid spurting out. Gritting his teeth, he pushed harder, ignoring how terrifying the corrupted ant was. The monster trembled violently, its glowing spots converging where Sejun drove the knife. Unsure what was happening, but his task remained to hold on. Gradually, a crunching sound emerged where the knife pierced, and Sejun realized he had stabbed something solid. Before, it felt strange, like stabbing jelly. When he pulled the knife out, Seijun saw he had pierced a sticky red fruit. It looked like a tomato, but it must be the carnivorous fruit Aileen mentioned. Unexpectedly, as soon as he pulled it out, without even examining it, the corrupted ent collapsed backward with a thud. The farmer stood frozen, unsure what to do, holding his position. It felt like pulling the soul out of a body. Was it really that simple? Seijun gaped, muttering, "Is it over?" Stabbing that thing faced no resistance from the corrupted ent at all. He couldn't believe it, but the system notification was definitely reliable. 2 notifications read, "You have eliminated the mutated corrupted ent's carnivorous fruit. You have accumulated 50 experience points." Behind him, Kwang tugged at his father's pants, pointing, "Look, Dad, look." What did only he notice? The 2 gray rabbits were still fearfully checking on each other. The farmer wasn't ready to face anything else, but before them, numerous skinny shadows were approaching. One corrupted ent scared them enough. Now a whole swarm appeared. What should they do? He gaped, crying out in dismay. "We're doomed. It's a territory invasion." Mother Bear had only just left when a new enemy appeared, the western corrupted ent that she always warned Seijun about. The system only gave Seijun one piece of information. This was corrupted ent's small branch scouts. No one knew why they appeared here or how to deal with them.
The small mutated corrupted ent army made no sound at all. They were like spiders gently placing their spindly legs on the ground, all moving in one direction towards Seijun's field. Though their size was only about as tall as an adult, their number was overwhelming. Looking out, the farmer couldn't count them all, only knowing that danger was very close. These intruders resembled the tree from earlier. Gripping the gardening knife tightly in his hand, with their size, he definitely had to deal with them himself. Behind Seijun, the little bear had enlarged to its full size, turning back into a large kuang. It clenched its fist, leaping forward to shield its father. Meanwhile, Seijun quickly turned to the 2 gray rabbits, telling them to run quickly and call for the combat-capable black rabbits. They obeyed, biting the axe in their mouths and running on all fours, leaving the battlefield for the father and son to hold the line. Kuang showed no fear, gaining momentum before jumping high. The sunlight was blocked by the small bear, now growling fiercely, Kwang, just like its name. The small corrupted ent army looked up, but couldn't see, though the glimmering dots seemed to follow Kwang's every move. Clearly, everyone knew it would be the main fighter. Targeting the densest area of the corrupted ents, Kwang slammed its body down with a thundering boom. The immense force scattered the corrupted ents in all directions, the ground sinking deeply, and those not thrown off couldn't stand firm. That was just the beginning. In Kwang's determined and angry eyes, there seemed to be a battle plan against the corrupted ents. It took a firm step forward, using its right paw to slap through the corrupted ents, successfully breaking them into several pieces. The cracking sound followed the smack. Kwang spun to the left, gaining momentum for another strike at the approaching corrupted ents. The bear's strength was terrifying. The corrupted ents were flung into the air, breaking in 2 before they could utter a word. With its black claws, Kwang only needed to stand still to battle a significant number of ent. After assigning the task to the gray rabbits, the foster father also rushed in, gripping the gardening knife tightly in his right hand. He shouted loudly, "Ha!" using all his strength to slash at the nearest corrupted ent. Seijun's reach only extended that far, and with the limited size of the gardening knife, he could only slash 1 corrupted ent. Fortunately, the knife was sharpened frequently, making it extremely sharp, cutting through the corrupted ent in 1 slice, very cleanly. It let out a croak, collapsing into 2 pieces on the ground. The cut area oozed a black fluid like corrupted ent blood, momentarily making the 2 nearby ones pause to assess the situation. Seijun, having slashed 1 corrupted ent, had to think about his next move. He was just a certified farmer, never having faced danger forcing him to fight, and the surrounding corrupted ents were slowly forming a circle around him. Where did they come from? There was no answer, but a shout came from afar. "Seijun!" It was the black rabbit and the sickle rabbit running on all fours in a hurry. Seeing them, he immediately shouted orders, stopped them from stepping into the field. This was Black Rabbit's moment to shine. It swung its right hand, a blue light flashing, revealing the shape of a hammer like Sailor Moon transforming. The Black Rabbit's face was tense. "I am a warrior rabbit. hide, and time to showcase my skills properly has come. With that, Black Rabbit shot forward like an arrow, zigzagging through the corrupted ents. Each corrupted ent it touched cracked severely or burst open with a big hole, demonstrating its superior hammer skills. In the overall scene, only a streak of light was seen passing through the corrupted ents, and then the rabbit emerged, gripping the hammer in both hands, darting out of the invaders without them having a chance to react. "Wow, Black Rabbit, you are awesome!" Sejun exclaimed in admiration. Looked at Sejun, armed with a sharp weapon but only managing to slash one corrupted ent. Black Rabbit was indeed a formidable fighter, truly opening everyone's eyes. Busy as he was, hearing praise, the rabbit turned back, raising its hand in a cool gesture with a clear wink. Knowing its strength, Black Rabbit became even more confident. Now was the time to show its usefulness. Suddenly, a corrupted ent jumped higher than the others, lifting its spider-like leg to stab down at the Black Rabbit. Its sharp leg could cause considerable injury if it hit, but Black Rabbit couldn't dodge in time, completely surprised by the sudden attack, only able to gape in fear. Suddenly, something from behind slashed through the corrupted ent's body, the sharp sound of swish ending the monster's actions. Seeing its body was cut with incredibly sharp and overlapping lines, within seconds, it burst into large and small pieces, falling to the ground. Black Rabbit gaped, looking up to see its brother had just created that masterpiece with his sickle, saving the Black Rabbit's life. Who would have thought Sickle Rabbit also had such outstanding combat skills? He landed with a handsome look, different from the squinty-eyed laborer in the garden. The scattered pieces of the corrupted ent fell behind Sickle Rabbit, showing that his speed was no joke. Carrying his weapon on his shoulder, Sickle Rabbit tilted his head and reminded his brother, "Don't get sidetracked, it's very dangerous." Black Rabbit remained silent, only daring to nod slightly. Without Sickle Rabbit's rescue, it would have been over for him. Suddenly, there was loud shouting from various voices. The second-generation young rabbits and the gray rabbit swarmed in with all kinds of gardening tools. One held a rake, another a shovel, some a hoe or an axe, all shouting loudly, "You bastards! Get out of our home!" The entire group of rabbit siblings rushed in to handle the corrupted ents. Those with weapons attacked in their own style, while those lacking confidence joined their siblings to strike bam-bam at them. Though clumsy, everyone tried their best to protect their territory. Some without weapons even used their teeth to bite or bare hands to punch the corrupted ents, causing some damage but not much. In the sky, two swarms of venomous bees gathered, buzzing aggressively, ready to sting the corrupted ents with their poisonous stingers. Though small, their stings were large and wide. Two bees stinging a vital spot could kill a corrupted ent instantly. Sejun led the way deeper into enemy lines, trying to reach Queng, who was single-handedly dealing with the corrupted ents. They never stopped fighting as the number of corrupted ents only increased. Slash one, and another appeared, showing no fear and constantly advancing. "Guys, hang in there a little longer. We've taken out almost all of them." Sejun clenched his fist, loudly encouraging the rabbits, who were fighting just as hard as he was, all to protect the farm. "Sejun, behind you!" Black Rabbit turned back to agree with him, but suddenly screamed loudly as if something terrifying was approaching. Boom! A gigantic root stomped the ground. Its color was completely different from the small mutated corrupted ent army. The ground shook, and the small corrupted ents rushed forward to make way for the large branch scout army behind. Shaw! The fruits inside them were yellow, but these moved in groups, even trampling the small corrupted ents to move forward, clearly not easy to handle. Sejun stood stunned at the new enemy, and the rabbits grew increasingly tense. In an instant, the yellow cavities turned to bright red. Shaw! It roared loudly, the fear rising with every breath. The system informed everyone this was corrupted ents' large branch scouts. Obviously, it seemed enormous compared to the farmer. Sejun's face turned pale. The small ones were numerous but manageable, but these were a different story. He managed to handle one ent before by sheer luck. "No more fighting, run!" Sejun ran on two legs as the large corrupted ents started thundering after him. Queng noticed the tense situation by his father's side and sprinted over with urgency. Currently, only this bear was big enough to approach the large enemy. Queng's recklessness drove it to headbutt the nearest large corrupted ent, clawing its face to slow it down for Sejun to escape. Sejun frantically called out to his little bear, "Queng! But Quang dared not look back, using all its strength to hold back the corrupted ent. Clenching its teeth, Quang furrowed its brow in determination. Its wet nose exhaled 2 white puffs of breath from the effort. "Don't mess with my dad!" Seijin stopped running, but he didn't dare approach. Even fully enlarged, Quang wasn't taller than the colossal corrupted ent, giving it no advantage. "Damn it! We can't fight those things with our strength alone." Mother Bear and Theo had gone to the pastureway, and it's too far of a distance for the Minotaur King to cross the wastelands in time. Sejun was at a loss, standing there bewildered, unaware that from behind, a large corrupted ent had already leaped towards him. It's over. There is nothing he could do. Sejun's eyes widened as the looming shadow was about to crush him. His gaze was filled with terror. Suddenly, a terrifying thud resounded beside him, and a gust of wind made Sejun shut his eyes tight. A large, dark figure with a long scar over its eye wielded a huge axe, striking down the corrupted ent that was about to eliminate him. Startled, Sejun opened his eyes and realized he was still alive, saved just in time. The Minotaur King, looking more handsome than ever, smiled at him. "Are you okay, Park Sejun?" Appearing like a descending god wasn't enough. The Minotaur King reached behind him. "The Black Minotaurs are here to help you too." Ox 3 and Ox 4, the fierce warriors, were using their bulging muscles to pummel the encircling corrupted ents. Their mighty roars echoed throughout the area, making Sejun excited. The right fighters had arrived, and he no longer feared for his life. From a distance, someone approached rapidly. The loud howls of Kuang filled the air. Looking over, something rammed into the large corrupted ents, scattering them everywhere, breaking them to pieces. A series of monsters were effortlessly dealt with by Mother Bear. She went berserk, grabbing the nearest corrupted ent and tearing it in half while stepping on a pile of corrupted ent corpses. "How dare you invade my territory and mess with Sejun Nim's fields? I shall not let you be, you ent scoundrels!" The Minotaur King casually lifted his axe, observing Mother Bear thrashing the tree monsters. "The giant red bear seems furious, huh?" He looked unbothered, clearly not fazed by the number of corrupted ents. Sejun took the opportunity to ask, "How did you know to come here and help?" The Minotaur King didn't answer, but a message appeared informing Sejun that the tower manager had directly called them for assistance. Initially, Sejun didn't understand, but after Aileen explained, he got it. "I confirmed that ents were coming to you from far away." The dragon spoke into a sphere, sending the message to Sejun. "I reached out to Minotaur King and Red Bear and made them come. I told you to trust me." Aileen's eyes sparkled proudly, placing a dragon hand on her chest, even though Sejun couldn't see. She felt happy for sending timely reinforcements to save him, feeling immensely useful. Sejun, feeling both joyful and moved, could only say a few words. "Aileen, thank you." His faith in the Black Tower grew stronger. He wasn't abandoned here. Determined, with various monsters, Sejun rallied. "Nice, let's protect the field together." Quang, with his mother around, shrank to a manageable size to coordinate better with the rabbits. Above them, the alert bees glared at the invaders. "Once this is over, I'll make you all extremely delicious food." The fierce looks on everyone's faces vanished. Hearing about food, everyone was excited. Even the Minotaur King drooled, his eyes shining. Food? His subordinates were no different, drooling at the thought of food. Quang didn't want to admit it, but the white steam from his mouth showed his craving. His eyes gleamed with anticipation. Did Sejun say food? The young ones were eager, wanting to finish quickly to eat. Quang jumped up and roared loudly. "Quang!" With Black Rabbit grinning on his head, the motivation for a swift victory was clear. "Charge!" Sejun confidently pointed his knife forward, leading everyone to attack the corrupted ents. All for a good meal. The Minotaur's hooves pounded the ground, along with the steps of the mother and child red bears, creating a powerful momentum. The prehistoric farm advanced bravely, showing the invaders what they were made of. In the 67th floor lizard's dense forest, the ground was littered with dead red locusts. The air smelled foul, carried by the wind. The place was barren. Even the distant mountains looked bleak. After parting with Kuang, Theo and Elka arrived here before heading below. The cat stood bewildered at the feet of the Silver Wolf tribe chief, thinking they had arrived at the wrong place. "Isn't this the dense forest, Nia?" Elka confirmed they were in the right place. It really is the dense forest. All the places where the red locust passes become desolate like this. Not a single blade of grass is left. Theo looked down at the busy Silver Wolf tribe, his voice heavy. "They truly are scary, Nia. But what are we doing here, Nya? Aren't we supposed to bring back the red locust bodies, Nya? The silver wolf tribe was also gathering branches, digging soil, and stacking stones. Not many were collecting the bodies of the pests. At this moment, the chief informed the cat that the Mage Guild had asked them to clean up the desolate Great Forest. Since everyone had gone to fight the red locusts, there was probably a shortage of hands. Elka looked a bit worried, but Theo wanted to know something else. The cat asked, "Do you get paid for this, Nya?" The chief honestly replied, "No, it's not that difficult anyway." Talking casually like that, Theo suddenly burst out angrily. "Are you a pushover, Nya?" Its face even showed veins as if the Silver Wolf tribe had made a terrible mistake. Theo stomped away with tightly furrowed brows, leaving Elka confused. The chief softly asked, "Where are you going, sir?" But Theo didn't bother to look back. Still in a rage, it replied, "This won't be Nya. You follow me, Nya." Theo turned back with an incredibly angry face, declaring to Elka, "I'm going to get us money, Naya." Theo's destination for demanding payment was a tent set up next to poles bearing the symbols of the Free Mercenary Guild and the Mage Guild of the tower. The lizard warriors guarding it were quite at ease until they saw an uninvited guest approaching, looking strange. They saw the fierce-looking cat and coldly said, "You are not allowed in here." Theo looked up at the yellow lizard and sharply retorted, "Move aside, Nya. I'm here to meet your leader, Nya." When they didn't move, Theo, annoyed, placed one hand on its chest and the other on its hip, tail wagging irritably. "I'm not just anyone, Nya. Call Iona or someone out here now, Nya." The guards were startled, never having seen anyone dare to directly call out the name of the great mage like that. This merchant cat even dared to speak so boldly in front of the tent. The lizard suddenly lowered its voice. "Master Iona is busy and likely cannot meet just anyone." Theo didn't care and loudly insisted on getting in. "It's not like we don't have any relations at all, Nya. Iona and I have a really important relationship, Nya." Theo's loud words quickly attracted a crowd of surrounding monsters. From warriors and merchants to ordinary passers-by, all gathered around the tent, curious about the cat's supposed close relationship with the great mage. Theo didn't care about the gaping crowd, still standing hands on hips, breathing heavily, locking eyes with the lizards. Elka, silently following, now felt a headache, wishing he could scream internally. "What is this damn cat brat going on about now? Who knows what trouble it's bringing?" Theo acted like he didn't care about the crowd around him. The cat determined to show how angry he was, simply because he was determined to see Iona, and he insisted having the right. Meanwhile, Elka, the leader of the Silver Wolf tribe, felt like the world was collapsing. He tiptoed closer to Theo, using words that were both respectful and showed he was about to faint from fear. "Theo, Director Theo, what are you doing now?" Still standing defiantly, the cat looked at the leader with a puzzled expression. "Why do you look so surprised?" In Theo's mind, he had every right to make a fuss here. Starting as Sajan's subordinate, and since Iona bowed to Sajan, her boss, then this great wizard was also Sajan's subordinate. By extension, because Theo and Iona were both Sajan's subordinates, their level of importance was the same. Their relationship was equal. Got it? Theo calmly explained this to the leader while twitching his ears. After finishing, he still saw the wolf's face wrinkled, sweating profusely as if hearing through one ear and out the other. Theo put his hands on his hips and shouted, "It's an equal relationship. Don't you understand?" Theo's shout left Elka speechless, and the surrounding onlookers started whispering more. Suddenly, the tent curtain was pulled aside by the hamster. Theo immediately recognized that Iona had finally come out to greet him. He smiled joyfully and was about to step forward to talk, but the great wizard shouted right in his face, "Quite, don't say anything to cause more misunderstanding." The tense look on Iona's face showed she had been dragged out here by the commotion outside the tent, just waiting to scold the ignorant cat. But Theo didn't care. As long as he was led into the tent, he was happy. Inside, suspicious eyes were all focused on the small cat. This place was having an important meeting, so why did Iona bring him in? Knowing people were questioning, the hamster led Theo in, but didn't explain to those around the map. Instead, she told Theo, "Everyone is planning another attack on the red locusts." Turning to the cat, Iona asked directly, "Why are you here? Is it because of Blade Onion?" He interrupted, saying no, that's not why he came. It was because of the wolves. Not mentioning it earlier, but now that it was brought up, Theo showed his displeasure. Down there, the wolf clan was cleaning up the battlefield and doing all sorts of tasks, while the original contract only said they needed to clean up the red locusts' corpses. If so, this contract was unfair to them, way too much work. Instead of yelling at Theo for this reason, Iona turned her gaze to a lizard with spines on its head. I've always been on the battlefield, so I didn't notice that. What do you think, Toro? Suddenly being called out, he stammered a few words. Well, that. Toro was the leader of the lizard tribe in the war. Trying to find an explanation, but clearly flustered, he said, because our lizard warriors are all fighting, the remaining lizards can't clean up the reclaimed territories. Only the elderly and children are left, so we asked them to help clean up. That was enough. Theo showed his disapproval. He folded his arms, lowered his voice, but loud enough for the whole tent to hear. That's impossible. I want compensation for that excessive workload. Seeing the great wizard silent, Toro hesitated and asked, how much? Theo spread out his plump paw, angrily shouting in his face, how dare you order my subordinates to work without my consent? Each wolf must get 1 tower coin at least. Now give me a total of 100 tower coins, nya. What? Hearing 100 tower coins, Toro slammed his hand on the table in extreme anger. What did you say, you greedy merchant cat? The loud bang from the table didn't make Theo back down. He clenched his fist ready to confront him, making Toro even more furious, about to step forward and crush the cat. No. Iona urgently raised her voice. Commander Toro, this one is a subordinate of the Great Black Dragon. Seeing Toro ignore her and still wanting to kill Theo, the wizard repeated sternly, remember what or who ensured and protected the 67th floor's safety from the red locust plague? Don't forget Blade Onion also came from him. Seeing some humility appear on Toro's face, Theo didn't hesitate to add on, all right then, I'm just a servant of the Great Black Dragon, a merchant cat, but what if I weren't there? Surely something big would happen, understand? So, pay for it, nya. Toro was furious. Never in his life had he encountered a creature that dared to speak to him so rudely in this entire black tower. Behind him, his black lizard subordinates kept pleading with Commander Toro to stay calm, but his hands clenched tightly, shaking with anger. Eventually, he had to concede. Though his eyes were tightly shut in reluctance, he nodded and said, I understand. Let me pay. After a noisy session, peace finally returned to the Mercenary and Wizard Association camp. Chief Elka walked lightly beside Theo, who was carrying a large bag full of gleaming tower coins. Theo lifted his round face and sang joyfully. Iona, walking beside him without saying a word, saw them off. Once again, the merchant cat demonstrated his impressive speaking skills. Theo, holding the heavy bag of coins, didn't feel the weight at all. He whistled various tunes. Remembering that this was for justice for the wolf clan, Theo lifted the bag of gold excitedly and called Elka. Hey, great job, take it. Elka waved his hands quickly, refusing. No, it's all right. We can earn a lot of money by selling some red locusts. Seeing Elka's gratitude, Theo pulled out his space pouch and stuffed the gold bag into it, smiling. What a sensible subordinate. It's a mistake to mistreat Theo's subordinates, the great subordinates of the Great Black Dragon. Beware of the same fate if you mistreat the Great Black Dragon. Theo lectured his subordinates in a solemn tone, so confidently accept the money. What I mean is don't let yourself be bullied. Elka agreed, nodding and saying, Yes, Director Theo. Turning to the hamster, Theo thanked Iona. Thanks to you, everything went smoothly. The Grand Mage smiled gently. There's nothing to thank for. From the start, I was on the front lines, so I didn't know these things were happening here, sorry. The cat comfortably ordering the Silver Wolf Chief, Elka, Theo said, Go to the 99th floor. I will stay alone on the 38th floor. Suddenly, Iona had a strange thought. The lizard clan was known for their principles, never giving up anything belonging to them. This time, although using the name of the Great Black Dragon to claim rights, Theo managed to make the lizard clan give up arguing. After this event, the reputation of this merchant cat Theo would surely spread far and wide. Maybe with his style, the cat wouldn't know how far his fame would travel in the Black Tower. Whether the fame was good or not didn't matter. What mattered was the figure behind Theo's reputation. The Great Black Dragon, who topped the tower, appeared as a creature new to the tower. With just only Blade Onion, Sejin had saved an entire clan from extinction. Under the name of the Great Black Dragon, Any power in the tower would be overshadowed. Iona frowned. In this black tower, who could surpass them? The Grand Mage's mind was full of deep thoughts. She knew the tower was gradually decaying, and food supplies were becoming more critical. Food would become power in this black tower. They couldn't let fools like Grid take over. Glancing at Theo's joyful face, Iona guessed that sooner or later, many factions in the tower would closely monitor this golden-furred merchant cat. But she wasn't in a hurry to reveal her thoughts. Not knowing what Iona was thinking, Theo put his hands on his hips and bid farewell. Iona, we're leaving now, but we'll be back soon. The hamster didn't hold him back, just politely asked, leaving so soon? Theo had a task from the president. He turned and waved goodbye. You stay here and do your job well, Nya. Happy to be rid of a burden, Iona waved farewell, advising Theo to take care, and watched him leave. Rumors would spread, and gossipers would work full force. One rumor would turn into 10 into 500, and more people would know about Theo through exaggerated stories. One day, Theo would become a great merchant cat that everyone hear about. Ding ding! In the midst of the extremely quiet place, a system notification suddenly appeared. Congratulations on leveling up. Seijin, groggy, sat up to see a series of system notifications popping up with short messages. Congratulations on leveling up. Congratulations on reaching level 22. Your reward is 1 skill point. Yawning loudly, the farmer sat up among a pile of dark things behind him. He adjusted the straw hat on his head, mumbling, I should have just rested a bit, but ended up sleeping for a long time and didn't even know I reached level 22. But how could Seijin sleep while there was so much noise from the Minotaurs cleaning up the battlefield after successfully attacking the Ents? Can't join the cleaning team due to size difference. Seijin and the rabbits could only stand and watch, leaving all the heavy lifting to the Minotaurs. Seijin put his hands on his hips, unfazed by the loud noises behind him, as more and more dead Ents were piled up. Still looking a bit bewildered, the farmer found it hard to believe what had just happened. Looking back, Seijin felt like he had just chopped down a whole mountain. The attack of the branch scouts, both big and small, failed quickly thanks to the timely appearance of Kuang, the Red Bear Mother, and the Minotaur King with his tribe. Additionally, the bravery of his son, Queng, helped Seijin gain a lot of level-up points, making it easy to level up. Afterwards, the little one even helped the adults clean up the battlefield. He dragged a mid-size Ent to Seijin, excitedly showing off. Dad, I got this for you. I defeated this myself. You should defeat this and become stronger. Seijin hesitated, but thanked Kuang sincerely, although he wasn't keen on the idea of defeating the monster to become stronger. After cleaning up the battlefield, to ensure no more surprise attacks, everyone decided to build a fence made of Ent corpses. With the Minotaurs and their fancy battle axes, the logs were quickly chopped and transported, forming a border to prevent intruders from damaging the fields. Looking at this one-of-a-kind fence while resting with everyone, including the now smaller Kuang, Seijin suddenly remembered. Aren't these the corrupted monsters from the west that the bear mother mentioned earlier? Chewing on one of them, Kuang responded, Yes, they are. But these Ents have never dared to invade my territory before. Recently, they've come closer, but were all destroyed. I never thought they could penetrate this far. Hearing the crunching sounds above him, Seijin looked up, curious. Does that taste good? It sounds tasty. He asked because he never saw Kuang eat this before, and now the bear mother was also chewing on a branch, so he asked out of curiosity. Kuang didn't answer, but kept chewing, implying it was indeed tasty. The bear mother's face showed guilt, recalling how without the black dragon's message signal earlier, she would have felt very regretful. Sorry, I should have patrolled more carefully. At Seijin's feet, the little bear mimicked its mother, picking up a root and chewing on it. Seijin waved his hands repeatedly, saying there was no need to apologize. The forest territory was vast, and patrolling alone was surely exhausting. To reassure Kuang, he added that the strength of the venomous bees had increased significantly recently. I'll ask the second and third generation venomous bees to assist the bear mother. The bear mother smiled and accepted. Thank you, Seijin. Then he remembered a question from the beginning when seeing the intruders. Why did the corrupted Ents come to our fields? More importantly, Seijin heard one of them say something before it died. It is here. He didn't understand what it meant, but could this be a clue? The farmer's contemplation was quickly noticed by the black dragon, who brought up a message box in front of Seijin. The tower manager said these corrupted ents are like viruses. He read it twice, still not understanding. Like viruses, how? Aileen reclined on a huge fluffy white pillow, flipping through an ancient book, reading out, no matter how many times you kill them, they will reappear before you realize it. Branch scouts are troublesome creatures. If there's a mutated tree in their environment, it will try to infect the healthy trees nearby. Therefore, all magical trees on the 99th floor can be infected by a single mutated branch scout. Turning another page, Aileen told him, it said that without a source of mutation nearby, the ent will remain dormant. But the question is, why did they suddenly wake up? Is there something attracting them? Do you have any clues? Sejin pondered. Clues, huh? Let's see. He listed various magical plants in the field, corn, tomato, so many he couldn't figure it out. His brain couldn't find the answer, but his stomach growled loudly at the mention of edible plants. Kwong looked at him curiously. What kind of stomach growls that loud? Even the red bear mother up high could hear it clearly. Looking down at Kwang, Sejin suddenly remembered that he'd been so busy fighting to protect the territory that he forgot it was way past mealtime. I'm starting to get hungry. Just finishing chewing a tree monster, Kwang's eyes lit up at the mention of food. Without waiting for him to ask, Sejin suggested, "Shall we go eat now?" A moment later, in a deep pan designed specifically for the kitchen stove, the sizzling sound of several fish pieces frying in eel oil filled the air, turning golden and mouth-watering. Sejin used chopsticks to pick up the cooked pieces and place them on a tray of green onion, the aroma mixing with the spicy stir-fry in the nearby pan, making Kwang lean over to get a better look. The young one, now grown up, behaved well, not grabbing the food the rabbits brought out, just craning to see what his father was making. The last batch of fried fish was for the hard-working minotaurs outside. Kwang raised his hands to receive the fish plate to pass it to Ox 3, who peeked through the curtain. Everyone's faces lit up with excitement, knowing the new dish would be delicious even before tasting it. Quickly, 5 plates of green onions piled high with food were brought out from the kitchen. This amount was not enough to feed all the monsters who helped guard Sejin's fields today, but there was plenty more food in storage. Ox 4, and a lighter-colored ox, brought in a bunch of freshly picked green onions from the garden, piling them into 2 large heaps to eat with a ring of piranhas hanging around the fire. The gray rabbits, not skilled at cooking, clung to the minotaurs' heads, watching them grill crispy fish, the smoky aroma filling the air. The white rabbit family had prepared 2 trays full of mixed potatoes. Today's highlight was shrimp and plenty of piranhas wrapped in green onions, piled high and almost overflowing. Surrounding these were, of course, grilled corn, sweet potatoes, and cherry tomatoes. When Ox 3 and Sejin's group brought out the fried fish trays, the feast began. Nothing was more satisfying than a hearty meal after a hard day's work. Just a few bites of green onions made the minotaurs' faces light up with satisfaction, the fresh sweetness of the green leaves awakening their taste buds before the main course. The rabbits were equally delighted with the sweet taste of carrots, each choosing a delicious dish to enjoy. Sitting next to the Minotaur King, who was gulping down a large cup of tomato juice, Sejun and the rabbit parents were eating the popular tomato soup. Kwang, alone, was devouring the remaining fish on the plate since the adults had moved on to tomatoes. It was the first time the Minotaur King tried tomato juice. His face lit up with excitement, shining like 1,000 stars, marveling at how incredibly delicious this drink was. The added honey from the venomous bee's hive enhanced the flavor. Sejun and the rabbits chuckled, noting that this treat wasn't always available. With his mouth full of food, Sejun brightly asked Aileen on the other side if she enjoyed the meal. Learning to use chopsticks quite skillfully, the dragon also had a full mouth of food. The fried fish was too tempting, and whenever something was too tempting, Aileen had the habit of stuffing it all into her mouth at once. Suddenly, Kwang tugged at Sejun's sleeve, pointing to Bear Mother flipping her plate over, looking for any fish scales left. It seemed the 2 trays reserved for Kwang weren't enough, and it would take a while to harvest and cook more. There's a better way. Sejun stood up, along with the little bear, approaching Kwang, introducing a special dish being brought over that she had never tried before. Following Sejun's direction, Kwang eagerly looked over. The farmer couldn't believe it. He had just introduced the dish, and it arrived immediately. Over there was Chief Elka, who, after bidding farewell to the merchant cat, pushed a cart piled high with protein-rich red locusts for the monsters on the 99th floor to enjoy. Kwang's face sparkled with anticipation, looking at the pile of red locusts like a child eager for a treat. Elka smiled in greeting, chatting with Sejin briefly. At his feet, Kwang jumped excitedly. He had tried this before, but not enough. Now he could eat to his heart's content. With this amount, Kwang can eat as much as she wants. The bear mother immediately dug her large paw into the pile of red locusts, grabbing handful after handful, barely making a dent. This time, she could eat her fill before returning to her territory. In the midst of all the joy, Sejin suddenly heard the panicked squeaking of the rabbits. Pika pika! Looking down, he saw the rabbits gathered around the mother rabbit, who was writhing in pain, while the father rabbit, in a panic, dropped his bowl of tomato soup. What's going on? What's happening? No one knew what to say, but the mother rabbit, with great effort, managed to inform everyone. The kids, they're coming. She clutched her enormous belly behind her apron. They're coming out. What? Sejin was terrified. Don't tell me she's giving birth here. Wait, don't tell me I have to deliver rabbit babies. Though the mother rabbit had given birth twice before, this was the first time she went into labor right in front of Sejin, causing everyone to panic when she screamed loudly. I think it's time. Oh no, both the father rabbit and the first-generation rabbits were in a frenzy, and Sejin's attempts to calm everyone down only made the chaos worse. Pika pika, they squeaked in a frenzy, and it took a while for things to quiet down again. After a while, behind the door of the farmer's house, there were calmer but still noticeable pika sounds. Sejin opened the door wide to reveal the eager faces of Ox 4, Elka, and little Kwang, all watching intently. They had been waiting since the mother rabbit went into labor, and now they all stared wide-eyed at what Sejin was carrying out. In Sejin's arms, carefully wrapped in a straw hat covered by a cloth, were 3 yellow fur balls snuggling together, sound asleep. The adults were excited, but didn't dare make a sound, afraid of waking the newborns. Inside, the mother rabbit had successfully given birth and was smiling through tears of exhaustion. Joy spread across the faces of the tower's inhabitants, all thrilled to welcome the new lives, or perhaps to have 3 more workers for the fields. The yellow-furred rabbit babies looked so sweet under the sunlight. Grow up quickly, so Uncle Sejin can take you to cut green onions and dig up carrots.
On the 52nd floor of Red Flame Mountain, amidst the barren rocks like stakes on the endless plain, hot winds howled through the air. The entire space was blazing like an oven, and those who lived here naturally had to have exceptional prowess. With a head and shoulders ablaze, the boar with a broken right horn glared at the man in front of it with its remaining eye. It was much bulkier than the man, its bloated belly almost obscuring its muscular legs that peeked out from under a tattered cloth. The only one daring to face this monster on the 52nd floor was a man already retired, his silver hair flowing in the wind above his cloak. He was clearly old, yet he seemed unusually formidable. Although many years had passed and the man in front had changed, the boss of the 52nd floor chuckled mockingly. Who do we have here? A human from outside the tower. I thought you'd have dived from my flame curse. Taejun stood with hands on hips, staring at the fiery beast with a calm demeanor. He knew its sarcastic nature better than anyone, so he was prepared with words to counter, exuding utmost confidence. I had a really nice vacation for the last few years. Thanks for that. It seems like you've been enjoying your life in the tower with just one eye, huh? Taejun's sarcasm was unbeatable, especially seeing the giant face burning with genuine hatred. He continued, How much have you eaten? I think I'm even smelling the barbecue smell all this way. Ha ha ha! Just a few words were enough to drive the Red Flame Mountain boss mad. It raised its fire-covered claws, matching its head, with eyes gleaming with hatred, and the boar bellowed loudly. Oink oink, you bastard. I'll make you regret ever showing yourself before me again. It leaped forward, its massive body lunging towards Taejun with a vigorous dance. The bang-bang sounds echoed as the fire of the Red Flame Mountain boss collided with the ground, scattering fire and rocks everywhere. From afar, nothing could be seen but the boar's back flaunting its strength. But this was nothing to intimidate Taejun. On the contrary, he felt extremely excited, as this scene was not much different from decades ago. Seeing the beast flexing its muscles, Taejun laughed heartily. These kinds of tricks won't work anymore, Because I have sweet sun pumpkin potato with me. He pulled out the sun sweet potato, larger than his hand, without glancing at it, yet Taejun's eyes were filled with pride. Because of this, he was ready to dive into the boar's fiery domain to confront it. Without hesitation, his old but incredibly strong teeth bit into the sun sweet potato with a crunch, its crispy sound echoing. A few pieces flew out, but just 1/9 swallowed was enough to fill Taejun with a strange power. The fire curse within him seemed to be expelled by this power, and Taejun clenched his fists, roaring to free himself from the curse that had bound him for years. In an instant, it took effect, even making the boar, who cast the curse, widen its eyes in disbelief. How did you?" it stammered, looking at the man who had returned to his normal state. It had never seen anyone able to break the curse right before its eyes so effortlessly. Taejun didn't bother explaining. He sprang from his spot, his beard and hair fluttering in the wind, his figure becoming blurry, but his eyes remained fixed on his target. Opposite, welcoming Taejun's move, the boar's claw came crashing down with a snort, its face fierce. It didn't know how this human had escaped its fire curse, but both now and decades ago, it wanted him dead. Suddenly, a wave made of fire blocked Taejun's path, twice his height, resembling a mini fire tsunami. It gave a burning sensation even without contact. Yet Taejun didn't hesitate, charging straight ahead without pausing for a second, letting the fiery wave pour over his head. His eyes fixed on the target, these minor attacks were nothing to him. As the wave crashed down, Taejun's shadow blurred, as if burnt to countless pieces. This was a move that once terrified Taejun. Human skin couldn't withstand the red flame mountain boar's fire. But this monster knew that too, so as soon as it saw Taejun's shadow blur, it opened its mouth and laughed heartily. "Oh ho ho, become a whole roasted food." The beast even raised its right foot to show off. But surprise, surprise, the fire wave it was so proud of now had a round hole highlighting the figure that appeared inside. It was none other than Taejun. Somehow, he had passed through the fire wave, twisting his body as he flew towards the boar. Knowing he had successfully avoided danger, a bright smile appeared on Taejun's lips. "I told you it doesn't work anymore, didn't I?" His muscular frame proving his words completely true. When Taejun was almost within reach of its bloated belly, the red flame mountain boar realized its enemy had gotten very close. It could only squeal twice before, thinking it couldn't stop him in time. Its claws still accurately clamped around Taejun's large body, pinning his arms tightly to his chest, easily immobilizing him. The fire from the boar's front limbs spread to Taejun's knees, and seeing the surprise on his face, the boar was immensely pleased. "I'll crush you so you can't do anything." Determined to eliminate the threat it had left unresolved over a decade ago, it didn't mind taunting its enemy a bit more. But the boar's words seemed weightless, as Taejun simply looked it straight in the eye and reminded, "You seem to have forgotten, since it's been a long time since we fought." Amidst the flying fire sparks, a green light appeared out of nowhere, resembling water waves surrounding the boar, making it realize something was off. Simultaneously, Taejun cast a blue light around himself, like a formation he conjured without using his hands. In an instant, the sky above the boar filled with countless stars chasing each other, forming beautiful circles. It stared dumbfounded, though still holding Taejun, realizing these phenomena were his doing. Taejun didn't need to hide it. He directly announced to the boar before sending it to heaven, "But I'm a magician." The moment the beautiful blue light enveloped its flabby face, the boar knew true fear. Its squeals echoed, but it was too late. The star-like lights turned into hundreds of thousands of sharp, beautiful but deadly needles, piercing the beast's body, sounding like someone preparing a piece of meat for roasting. After a while, the 52nd floor boss lay on the ground, its face charred black, its left tusk broken. The red flame mountain boss looked so pitiful, it was nothing more than a rag under Taejun's foot. He stepped on the massive, now burnt-smelling body, feeling victory surrounding him. Finally, it was over. He admired his trophy and soon saw notifications flashing in the sky. "You have defeated the 52nd floor boss, Burning Wild Boar. The flame curse of the Burning Wild Boar is being lifted. The land burned by the wild boar's curse is being restored." Around him, it was like a curtain had been lifted. The fiery, dry Fire Mountain scenery disappeared, replaced by the boss's corpse on a grassy field, trees gradually recovering, and Taejun felt a freshness in his body, like he was young again. Seeing the persistent fire on his hand disappear suddenly, Taejun joyfully realized the fire curse was gone. So this floor was cursed like him. Once the monster causing the curse was eliminated, both people and the environment could be restored. Looking at the nearly intact sun sweet potato, he thought, just one bite, and it had the power to help me overcome the terrifying fire wave the boar had unleashed. Taejun looked at it gratefully. I could do this all thanks to the sun sweet potato. How can I repay this debt? At that moment, he heard the whining of an extremely irritable monster stomping through the newly grown grass. Grass is suddenly growing from the ground. Nya? It's uncomfortable to walk around in, nya. Looking in that direction, Taejun saw an orange cat with a bit of white fur, walking on its hind legs, trampling the green grass, staring at him like seeing a strange creature. But before the cat could speak, Taejun excitedly shouted, "Wandering cat merchant?" His joy was justified. Since retiring, Taejun had conquered the boar immediately upon entering the tower, and now seeing a cute, harmless monster, he couldn't help but be happy. Seeing his excitement, Theo suddenly became more cautious, opening his mouth and warily meowing back. What do you mean by that? More importantly, the wandering merchant cat's tone shifted instantly, pointing its claw upward and shouting, "Oi, old man, where did you get that thing in your hand, nya?" The thing in his hand was none other than the sun sweet potato. Taejun still looked at it with a doting gaze, no different from looking at a precious child. Despite the merchant cat's strange attitude, he wanted to tell it a long story. Moments later, sitting next to Taejun was the cat, its right ear waving constantly. "Meow, so you are Dongshik's master?" it asked, eyes wide in surprise, then commented innocently, "He brought the sweet sun pumpkin potato for his master. What a fine disciple, nya." Taejun burst into laughter, throwing his head back and laughing heartily. "Ha! That's right! I really am proud of our Dongshik." Looking down at this wandering cat that knew his student, "You said you were Theo, right? I was able to get rid of the flame curse thanks to you. Thank you. You saved me. I owe you. I shall not forget this kindness." Theo didn't care about the favor. It just looked at him and made a strange request. "Nyaha, then repay that debt now, nya." Taejun was puzzled. How could he return it? Seeing his confusion, Theo's cunning face became evident. Raising a paw pad, it said, "Make a contract with me, nya." Don't think Taejun agreed immediately. He was a legendary hunter after all. Crossing his arms, he looked at the cat with amusement and asked, "A contract? Huh. In the tower, contracts are an important constraining magic. I don't want to be constrained to you." Theo stood up, retorting, "Nya, didn't you say you'd like to repay your debt to me? Become my underling, nya." Taejun paid no heed, still crossing his arms and pretending to look away, simply replying with few words, "I don't want to," making Theo switch to a pleading tone, no longer as arrogant as before. Clinging to Taejun's arm, it whined, "Become my underling, nya?" Taejun kindly turned back, extending a finger to the cat. "How about this? Let's become friends. If anything happens, this grandpa will grant your request as a friend." Theo seemed satisfied, curiously asking, "Friends? You'll grant any request, nya?" Taejun successfully diverted the cat's attention, laughing and responding, "Ho ho, anything Theo wants since we're friends." However, Theo had already prepared what to say when making friends with Taejun. Putting its hands on its hips, it called out, "All right, meow, then competent old friend, follow me to the 38th floor, nya." Whether friends or not didn't matter. The way Theo stood with hands on hips and spoke was no different from a master ordering a subordinate. Perhaps in its mind, only the title changed, while commanding this hunter remained the same. Unclear why Theo led to the 38th floor, but on the 99th floor, smoke was billowing. Under the wooden lid was the sound of bubbling, trying to push it off. As soon as it was lifted, the fragrant smell immediately wafted out with the white smoke. Anyone present would smell the fresh, sweet aroma of vegetables permeating every cell. Even Sejin, who ate delicious and clean food daily, was amazed. "Oh my, smells tasty." Turning to the little rabbit by his feet, he asked, "I think it's been boiling for almost 12 hours. Should be okay to eat now, right?" It obediently replied, "I think so." Sejin asked because the main ingredient of this dish was red locust meat, something he had never cooked before, needing the rabbits to tell if it was done. He extended his hand for the little one to add more salt. There were many dishes made from red locusts, waiting for Sejin to showcase his cooking skills. Nearby was a pile of neatly prepared red locust meat, promising a hearty meal full of protein. Not long ago, seeing monsters eating so appetizingly, Sejin was curious and tried cooking. Though the appearance might be scary, the important thing was to absorb a lot of protein. Seeing Kwang drooling with anticipation,